Now we bossed up, making real boss moves. He smiled every time he hit on the airways. That's what we talk about. It's a movement.
I grew up, a fucking screw up. Got introduced to the game, twist my fingers and fucking grew up on the block. For to come up here, doing anything not to sleep on our dreams, and that's by any means necessary. You got a plan to be legendary. Hustle hard, so bad times just temporary. Even though the road is dark, it can be very scary. You gotta see what they can't see. Visionary. You out here trying to change the game, so yeah, people gonna say that you change characters, not the same. You want the world to remember your name, get off a t-shirt and just switch up your lane. The gears change when your props to be better than the competition. Your mission for the one is switch your position. Be afraid to take the loss, and this is part of the cost. So hard you gotta fire your boss. Sometimes when you on the grind, you leave the things behind and do sacrifice. If you wanna move like boss. I had to talk with myself and I finally listened. Bread and butter was some bosses made it rise again. Oh yeah, we took a couple losses, now it's time to win. Back on my grind again. They got to give me. I went from trying to get the block to now the city's mine. I want the work because I could lose my life at any time. And I get that because I'm ahead of that. Knowing I you gotta say you wanna move like boss. I got right. My name is on the dotted line, not nice until I'm labels say I'm out of time. Perfect precision.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Good night. Trying to play a little music. Get ready for the class. Hey, Shalom, Akim. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshua Barakathum. Yahweh Shamar Latham Ba'Shem Yahushua. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, back 1969, under commanding General Yohana, Priest and Officer Kazak Damar. ISUPK Florida scripture breakdown class, right? Y'all make sure y'all share the class. Yeah, that might be what it is. I don't think I'm that important though, Big Judah. I don't think so. I don't think I'm that important, but maybe you know something I don't. Say Trump trying to get us out the airways. We ain't doing nothing but teaching the truth about the Bible. Blacks, Latinos, or Hispanics / Native Indians / indigenous people are the chosen people of God. You know, basically that's really what we doing. Hey, Shalom Shabar. Yabashir. Anybody that want to come in. Let me give me 1 second. I'm trying to get this thing squared away. I was trying to play some music while I did it, but I don't know what the hell was going on with the music. It was crazy. It was playing fast, then it was playing slow, then it wasn't playing at all. Like, yo, that ain't gonna work. Let's go ahead and get the class started. If y'all got any questions, make sure y'all put them in the chat, in the comments. We'll get it started. Same thing we do every Monday night, try to take over the world. Try to take over the world. So let's see here. Any topics, anything in particular you want to deal with, Shabar? You got any question?
Not as of right now. I don't want.
All right. Cool. Let me situate it. Give me some troopers up in here. Y'all troopers, wherever y'all at. Y'all need to be in class. Got the sisters always. The sisters show up for some reason. The sisters in Florida show up no matter what. Always showing up. Always looking out the water to the Most High for these sisters. Let me get this squared away here. This is and then we can go ahead and get started. Trying to get the Bigo up and running, and then once I get Bigo straight, we're good to go. All right. Let's go Hebrews 5 and 12. Let's go ahead and get started there. Everybody go to Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12.
Come. Book of Hebrews, chapter 5 and verse 12. For the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat.
So now y'all know most of the time we're going to start out this class right here. This is where we at in the world. It's a time where we ought to be teachers. We should know what we're doing. We should know how to serve the Most High. We should know, what he requires out of us, how to get out of the captivity, so on and so forth. But the problem is we have need that somebody teach us again. And the reason we got need somebody teach us again is because everything that we've learned up until this point has been a lie. They didn't teach us the truth about God. They didn't teach us the truth about Yahushua. What they taught us is fabricated stories, things that sounded good, things that fit the agenda. Now, here we go. We trying to learn about how we get up out of this captivity, which what got us there in the first place. It was following the customs of the other nations. Guess what they gave us? The customs of the other nations. They brought back Greek mythology. Now we got to have God, have man. They brought back Egyptian mythology. They brought back, the Trinity, all of these different things that came from these ancient texts, and they mixed them up with the Bible. So here we is trying to figure out how to get up out of the captivity that we in, why we here, what we did wrong, and they ain't do nothing but make it worse. Further indoctrinated us with things that are not pertaining to the Most High, His Son, so on and so forth. Now we stuck. Or are we? No, we just have need that somebody teach us again. And what we got to do is, how Christ said it, is unless you become like one of these babes, right, you will no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven. So we got to go back to square one, right? We got to start all over again, learning how to please God, learning who the Most High is. It starts with our identity. I don't know if y'all know that, but that's why the Israelites are hated, because nobody wants you to pay attention and focus on who you are. As long as you don't know who you are, you'll follow anything. You'll follow anything because you don't know what you're supposed to be following. We always ask these questions on the streets. Every time Tawashab get the mic, he like, yo, who was black people before slavery? Anybody know? Who was black people before we was brought over here on them ships, before we came to America? What culture did we speak? What language did we speak? What kind of food did we eat? That's the thing we need to be worried about concerning getting back to that. Because if you can find that out, then you can find out what God you served. Because there's a lot of idols and fake gods that exist. And if you ain't careful, you'll be right up under them. Like the spirit of Saint Valentine. Yeah. The spirit of, America. I seen a devil today. He had on a hat that said Donald Trump 2024, steal your daddy. Steal your daddy. And he had on a whole red, white, and blue outfit. Now, these things might seem pro-America, but what they are is anti-black, anti-Hispanic, and anti-Native American. That's what they are. Making America great again and all of that. That was all a ploy to make sure that we keep you grounded, that we don't allow you as black people to feel like you ever gonna be nothing in this country. Black people was getting beside themselves, Shabar. We thought we was gonna be a part of the American dream. The reality is you was never meant to be a part of that American dream. You were brought over here to help build the American dream. And just like it say in Deuteronomy chapter 28, you will build houses and other people will live in them. You will plant a vineyard and other people will get the grapes. That's us. We fit that curse. We fit that curse. And the only thing we can do about it is repent, come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, and serve the Most High. I had a couple of things I could go over. Let me see if I want to go over them tonight. Y'all make sure y'all share the live, share the class with those, because last week we had a little issue on the regular page. I had to go back to the No Cowards floor, but we back on the ISUPK flower. They tried to jam us up for a boot kiss video, Shabar.
I see.
They went back and say the boot kiss video did not violate YouTube's rules. I was like, oh, Most High in Christ. The YouTube video did not violate YouTube standards. Most High in Christ. Thanks. Get a Lord a hand for that one. You would think, if you ain't know no better. Shalom, Masha. Yabashim Shabakata.
Stop.
Yahweh Basham Yahushua Bakatam. I'm too up, sir.
Good. Y'all already for Passover? Yeah.
Brother, don't come, sir. I'm ready. I'm ready.
I probably all right. You the first person I heard say you was ready. Everybody else be like, or they'll say something like, as ready as I'm gonna get.
Right.
Something like they don't never say they ready. But if you ready, that means you ain't been to enough Passovers. So I did a thing right on Bigo. I did a debate. It was about Paul. So I want to circle back around and let's go to the whole Gentiles thing. I think somebody asked me a question about the Gentile. Was that you, Shabar, last week? Who was that?
That was last week. Yep.
All right, yeah. All right, so what I want to do, I want to do a little go through some scriptures about it. This was one of the hardest things to me because it's clearly calling these people Gentiles in the New Testament, right? This is one of the hardest things for me to understand. Why would it call them Gentiles if they wasn't Gentiles? The thing is, Yaiquab, just call my number after class, all right? Just call my number. We'll talk about it. But anyways, this right here, I want to equip you in this area because this is one of the hardest things for me to grasp. Somebody give me hold on one second. Give me John chapter 7, verse 35. Let's start there.
The book of John, chapter 7, and verse 35.
35.
John chapter 7, verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles, and teach the Gentiles?
You could go up a couple. Go up a
Come,
couple. You heard me?
Come. John chapter 7,
Go
verse
to 33. Go to 33.
John chapter 7,
Matter
verse
of fact,
33.
32.
Come. Verse 32. The Pharisees heard that the people murmured such things concerning him. And the Pharisees and the chief priests sent officers to take him. Then said Jesus unto them, Yet a little while am I with you, and then I go unto him that sent me. Ye shall seek me, and shall not find me. And where I am, thither ye cannot come. Then said the Jews among themselves, Whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles, and teach the Gentiles? What manner of saying is this that he...
Now, if you was in the class last week, I got a little delay, Shabar. Bear with me. Sometimes that's why I ain't really come in at every one and break down each church scripture or whatever. But if you was with me last week, right, and we was talking about the Gentiles, I want to know what does that mean, that word where it says unto the dispersed among the Gentiles? What are they talking about?
So unto the dispersed among the nations and teach the Gentiles. So we learned that Gentiles simply means nations, and that Gentiles
Right.
also can mean us Israelites in those other lands.
Right. But you see that word disperse?
Kind of what
You
kind?
remember the definition from last week? You got a Zondervan Bible
La
dictionary?
sir. Let's see.
Masha, you got a Zondervan Bible dictionary?
Turn at one turn, sir.
All right. Can you get me diaspora in that Zondervan Bible dictionary? Diaspora. Is it the compact or is it the full size?
Yes, this is diaspora, page 133 in the Zendoven Bible Dictionary. That which is sown. The name applied to the Jews living outside of Palestine and maintaining their religious faith among the Gentiles.
All right, stop right there.
Can I go further?
So diaspora is the name given to the Jews living outside of Palestine. Now, that means they wasn't living in the land, Shabar, but maintaining their religious faith. So these are Jews living outside of Palestine and maintaining their religious faith. Keep going.
Maintaining their religious faith among the Gentiles. God
Among
has
the
warned the
Gentiles.
Jews
Hold on one second.
among the Gentiles.
1 second. Shabar, read what Yahweh Shah just said, what you just read in verse 35.
Wakam. John chapter 7, verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles?
You see that?
Wakam.
You see that? Now, he said dispersion or diaspora, the name applied to Jews living outside of Palestine and maintaining their religious faith among the Gentiles, right? If you keep reading it, it's just talking about the Most High State. Yeah.
That means you just can replace dispersed to Jews, just like the Zendeven say.
I mean, you would be doing yourself you would be skipping a step if you did that, because it don't always mean dispersed. Sometimes it means other nations. Like right here, you see Gentiles twice, right? You see Gentiles twice in verse 35. One of them is talking about other nations. Another one is talking about the dispersed. The first one is talking about the other nations. The second one is talking about the dispersed, and that's in the same text. So it's saying, what will he go unto the dispersed among the other nations and teach the dispersed? That's what they're asking. Y'all follow me? So guess who the Jews is in here? The Jews is the ones living in Palestine and maintaining their religious faith. The dispersed is the ones living outside of Palestine and maintaining their religious faith, or the diaspora. You get it?
I got it.
All right. If you keep going down in this definition, you'll see that the Most High has said that he was going to scatter the Israelites if they didn't do what he said to do. The major times when he did it was in the Assyrian captivity, the Babylonian captivity. But then the Greeks and the Romans came in and they took over Jerusalem. So by 70 AD, once they had scattered, Well, actually, by the time of Christ, you had more Jews living outside of Jerusalem than you had in Jerusalem. Just like right now between Orlando and Tampa, you got more Puerto Rican people than on the island of Puerto Rico. Did y'all know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, between Tampa and Orlando is more Puerto Rican people than on in Puerto Rico. Because what happened
Wow.
is you got the diaspora that leaves out and they start to have babies where they at. And these kids have never been to Puerto Rico, but they Puerto Rican so-called. They Ephraimites that their parents and grandparents spoke Spanish. Now they speak English. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
The same thing was going on back then. Same thing was going on. They left out of there. If he keep reading, diaspora, I'll read it for the sake. It said God had warned the Jews through Moses that the diaspora among the dispersion among the nations would be their lot if they departed from the law. These prophecies were fulfilled in two captivities, Assyria and Babylonian. Now think about it. You got the 9.5 tribes for the northern kingdom. They was in Assyrian captivity while Judah, Benjamin, and Levi was still in the land. So that's 9.5 tribes that wasn't in the land already. That's why most people, when they break down the Gentiles in the New Testament, they say it's the northern kingdom, but it wasn't just the northern kingdom. Everybody understand?
Okay.
You go to 2 Kings, it'll break down how the Most High put all of Israel out of his face, right, for their disobedience. It says, hold on one second. It says, these prophecies were largely fulfilled in the two captivities by Assyria and Babylonian, especially from the time of Alexander the Greek. It says Alexander the Great. Alexander the Greek, during that time, that's when you got the Maccabean period. Alexander comes out the cave, start killing everybody, taking over lands. Jerusalem is one of the lands he conquers, and they take over the temples. They got holes all in the temple. They sacrificing swine's flesh on our altars, disrespecting our God. That's why the Feast of Dedications that we have in December is such a big deal, because this is when the Maccabees went in and fought the Greeks and got our temple back and dedicated it back to the Most High. Y'all familiar with that, right? So we have heathens in our land, and yeah, we got heathens in our land, and we go back and get it. Then by the time the Romans come in, by the time Christ, it says this right here. It says, especially from the time of Alexander the Greek, many thousands of Jews immigrated for the purpose of trade and commerce into neighboring countries, particularly in the chief cities. By the time of Christ, the dispersion must have been several times the population of Palestine. So it was way more Jews outside of Palestine than there was in Palestine by the time Christ came. If you could wrap your mind around that, you'll understand better why Paul had to go into Asia Minor, and he set up 7 churches in all of these different places. Why he's writing letters to Ephesus and Rome and Corinth and all of these different places, because it was Jews in all these places outside of Palestine. It says it right here in the definition. If you look, Masha, you see where it says these, it says by the time of Christ, the dispersion must have been several times the population of Palestine. Pick it up from right there.
Paul invariably contacted the people in every city he visited.
You see
That's
that?
it.
The synagogues in every part of the known world helped greatly to spread of Christianity, for Paul invariably went to them in every city he visited. So who was Paul going to? According to Zondervan Bible Dictionary, the diaspora. How is that right there in plain sight and nobody knows this information? Let's go back to John chapter 7, 35 real quick. Let me go back to it.
Come.
So Yahweh shall say, I'll be with you for a little while, and then I'm going unto who has sent me. You shall seek me and shall not find me, and where I am, thither you cannot go or cannot come. Verse 35, then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? That's a weird statement, ain't it? They like, where he going? Is he going to go outside of Jerusalem, around to the dispersed among the nations and teach those people? That's what they was asking. Y'all got that, right? First Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2.
This is the book of First Corinthians. This is the book of First Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away into these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
Hey, read it again. Read it again. It went out on my end.
Verse 2. This is the book of First Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
Y'all see this? You know that you were Gentiles. How was Gentile? How was you a Gentile and now you're not a Gentile no more? Make that make sense. Shabar, can you guess? How can a person be a Gentile and then not be a Gentile no more? Y'all there? Something wrong?
But I don't answer.
I may have to.
Do you hear me?
Let me see something. I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I think I got a delay.
Let me see. Yes, you have a little delay.
Yeah, it's a little. Yeah.
So you asked what it was saying in verse 2?
Let me see if I can fix it. Hold on.
Slakia, Chuba Mashal, you still there?
Turn on the on concert.
Okay, no, I didn't know if you cut out also.
La answer, I'm still on.
Okay. Let's just wait another 30 seconds to see if he's gonna jump back in.
Turn on the on concert.
Salaki, you just want to read verse 2 from the top?
Turn on the on concert. This is the book of First Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
Come. You know that you were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. But basically, that's jumping off of Matthew chapter 7 and verse 35. You know that you were the Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols. So it basically he said living outside of Palestine. You know what I mean? These were the Jews
But
living
I don't
outside of
consider.
Palestine, right? Carried to these dumb idols. So you figure whatever they were doing in those times, but false idols, you know, just like here in America, carried away into the land of the north, got the Christianity, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Catholicism. Okay, Officer Kazak is back.
All right, can y'all hear me now?
Perfect.
But I don't concern. Loud and clear.
All right, cool. All right, cool. Hey, Shalom, Yeshaya, Shalom, Kayal, Lord in Christ, Akim. Where was we at? John 7 and 35. Oh, 1 Corinthians chapter 12. You know that you were once Gentiles carried away on these dumb idols. What made them Gentiles? The people he was talking to. If you just read what's right there in the text.
But I don't concern.
Nobody know? You know?
Kamakan.
But I don't concern. I can speak.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
If I stay on the text, because the Israelites were carried away unto these dumb idols. That means they were following
What is that?
idols. That's
Yeah. What that mean to be carried away though?
Salakia.
they
Yep.
were they went outside of the city to some other land, serving other gods.
Go ahead, Shabar. What you was gonna say? I must got a crazy delay. Y'all can hear me?
We can hear you clear right now. We don't see your video, but we hear you clearly.
Yeah. So Shabar, what you say about the what I say? What it mean to be carried away?
Kamakan. So
Shalom, Lord Christ.
Shalom, Lord Christ. So basically, it's talking about captivity. When it says carried away, it's captivity.
Right.
And then it says, you know that you were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols. So you were Jews living in these other lands. So outside of, according to Matthew 7 and 35, he said outside of Palestine. These are the Jews that were dispersed outside of Palestine.
So they didn't live it. They didn't live in the land no more. So just what would have been happening if they didn't live in the land? How would they have been living? They would have been living just like you've been living. There's certain
Kamakan.
things that we do as Israelites, right? Like keep the Sabbath. Go ahead. Go ahead, Yeshaya.
Hey, Shalom, Yahweh Shemeshah. They were living. I mean, like when they got carried away, right? They were living as Gentiles, being Israelites. Slack, I don't want you on mute.
What that mean? Living as Gentiles. What that mean?
Meaning when they were carried away out on with unto these dumb idols, that's when they were living as Gentiles. Meaning they weren't keeping, they weren't how could I say, when they probably got carried away and left the land, maybe missed a couple Passovers, they were out.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Those things, right? Those things that you're supposed to be doing, they would have missed those things, right? Like keeping the Sabbath. Things y'all do now that people think y'all crazy for doing, like trying to keep the Sabbath, keeping the Passover, not eating certain foods. Y'all know people think y'all crazy for doing that, right? Yeah, you know why they think y'all crazy? Because nobody else in America does this. So just imagine, right? If you in Rome or you in Corinth or you in any of these places and everybody's worshiping the gods of these places and they're doing what they do, the customs of the people, right? Somebody give me Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Whoever was reading in Corinthians, just stay there for a second.
Lucky, I have Jeremiah 10 and 1. Are you ready?
Go ahead and read it.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1.
Now we got a class, Akim. Now we got a class. I got a couple officers in here. I got some troopers in here. Now we got a class, Akim. The water. Make sure if y'all got a question, y'all ask it in the comments.
Salakis, are you ready for the scripture?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Stop right there. So this is the order that the Most High told us. Learn not the way of the heathen, right? But now, by the time we get to Corinthians, we living amongst the heathen. When we in Rome, we living amongst the heathen. Now we in America, we living amongst the heathen. So how we gonna not learn their ways? You don't have a choice. If you wanted to go to work on Christmas, you can't go to work. Trust me, I tried. Let me get that time and a half. They like, nah, everything's shutting down. Everything's shut down. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna skip Thanksgiving? It's un-American. Y'all see what's going on? Now,
Come.
We amongst these people, of course, we're gonna be serving their idols, serving their gods, right? In the Bible, somebody give me 1 Kings chapter 9, verse 6. Somebody else. How Captain Tazariak always said it. There's a river that flows through the Bible. You gotta go with the current. You gotta go with it. If you just follow it,
Right.
it'll teach you, it'll tell you everything you need to know.
Right.
Come on, Concho, I got it.
That's why they say precept. That's how you got to learn now, because you ain't maintain yourself in the land where you came from. So now you got to learn the precept among precept. When the Bible wasn't originally written, the ancestors and be able to learn. Now you can't do that. We gotta break it down here a little and there a little, so you can understand it. Somebody got it?
Come on, Concho. This is the book of 1 Kings 9, verse 6. But if ye shall at all turn from following me, ye are your children, and will not keep my commandments and my statutes, which I have set before you. But but go and serve other gods and worship them. Verse 7. Then will I cut off Israel out of the land which I have given them, and this house which I have hallowed for my name will I cast out of my sight, and Israel shall be a proverb and a byword among all people. Slocky, you want me to continue to read?
I think you made it cut off for a second.
All right.
So if you read it from the top, I'll break it down line.
All right. I'll start from the top, verse 6. Book of 1 Kings 9, verse 6.
Did you already read verse 7?
Con, sir. I was going to pick it
All
up
right,
from
let me just go ahead and start here because it had cut me out. It says, but if you shall at all turn from following me, you or your children, and will not keep my commandments and my statutes, which I have set before you, but go and serve other gods and worship them. This is the same thing Paul was talking about. These other gods, that small g is idols. They're not the Most High. They're not the real God. They're not the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When you go and worship them, verse 7, then will I cut off Israel out of the land, remember the diaspora, which I have given them, and this house, which I have hallowed for my name, will I cast out of my sight, and Israel shall be a proverb and a byword among the people. If y'all had to guess what that word people is right there, I ain't looking at it, but I what would y'all think that another word for that word would be?
Slut.
Select.
Go ahead. Whoever said it first.
People among all nations, and byword among all nations.
Nations. Yeah, that's it. You will be a proverb and a byword among the nations, right? And then that word, hold on. Let me see. Let me check it out real quick. I'm going to make sure. Don't want to speak presumptuously. Oh, it's a different word. I was going to say that word probably the same word that they use for Gentile, but it's not. But it's saying the same thing. Nation, people. That's crazy. All right, there's another word for Gentile or people. Anyways, so this is the Most High saying that if you didn't do what he said to do, if you went about serving other gods, then he would cut you off and you wouldn't be his people, right?
Right.
So now when we go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, when he's saying, know ye not, or know ye that you were Gentiles, carried away unto dumb idols, even as you was led. Now you understand. You went in and you served these other gods, and you was cut off, and you became as another nation. Normally when I do this breakdown, I'll go into, there's in the Bible, if y'all want to go grab the script and read it, if you eat blood, right, you're cut off from being the Lord's people. You're no longer his people. If you miss a Passover, if you don't keep the Passover, you're cut off from being the Lord's people. You're no longer his people. If you don't keep the Sabbath, you cut off from being the Lord's people. You no longer his people, right? Remember what we read, Hebrews 8:8 last week, where it says, you have become Israel swallowed up among the Gentiles and have become a vessel of dishonor. But also in Hosea 1, it says, in the same place where I said, you are not my people, you are my people. I keep going over these same ones until the light bulb click in y'all head about what's going on in the New Testament. What's going on in the New Covenant. Let's keep going. If we read that in 1 Corinthians 12 and 2, you were Gentiles, who is he talking to? Is he talking to people that are not Israelites? Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Just flip the page a couple of pages. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Show y'all something real quick. Anybody can read it.
Ten and 1. Salaki, sorry, 10 and 1.
Yeah, let me get Kayal. Kayal, can you read?
First.
1 Corinthians 10 and 1. Yeah.
1 Corinthians 10, verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea. Verse 2.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Y'all see what he said? Brethren. Who is Paul's brethren?
It's like Israelites.
How do you know?
Because they're only talking to Israel, sir.
Slakia.
Yeah, go ahead.
It says right there in the verse that he says that our fathers were under the cloud, and those were just Israelites alone.
Everybody ain't passed under no cloud. When they came out of Egypt, our fathers passed under the cloud in the Old Testament. That was Israelites. But how do you know that he's talking to brethren, that brethren means Israelites? How you know brethren don't mean the church?
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
If you just jump back to Romans 9 and 3, he uses that same word, brethren. It says Romans 9 and 3.
There we go. Read it.
For Romans chapter 9 and verse 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh.
My kinsmen according to the flesh. Read the next part of the first one. I mean the first part of the next one.
Comma. Who are Israelites?
Who are Israelites? There you go. I wish that myself were accursed for my brethren according to the flesh. My brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh. The people that I'm some kin to by my flesh is my brethren. That's what he said in Romans. Now, as he's writing this, moreover, brethren, I would not that you should be ignorant. How, like, don't forget or don't ignore how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea. I'm going to keep going. And were baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual meat. Now, tell me why he's saying this to people that are in Corinth. If the narrative that they pushing is that he's talking to people who are not Israelites, why is he saying this in a letter to the people in Corinth? Y'all follow me?
Come.
Okay.
That don't make no sense. This is random right here. Let me get Yeshaya. Can you read?
Come, son.
He just read Romans 9. Go to Romans 10 and 1. What does that say?
Come. The book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 10.
Chapter 10, verse 1.
Chapter 10, verse 1. Come on, come. Chapter 10, verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how our
No.
Slakia,
Romans,
how
Romans 10 and 1. We
Slakia,
at
Slakia,
Corinthians.
Slakia,
Yeah, we just read
Slakia.
Corinthians 10 and 1. Yeah, let me read that again while you get to Romans. I
I'm there. On.
want you to go to Romans 10 and 1. Corinthians
Come on,
10 and
come.
1.
This,
So look, all y'all got to do is go to these letters, right? And you'll see in 10 and 1 and two different ones, one in First Corinthians and another in Romans. He's talking about brethren. I would that you would not be ignorant how our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea and were baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. Y'all see that, right? Now go to
come
Romans
on.
10 and 1.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved.
Now, this is the question I always ask people. This is a letter to the Romans. Why would he start this part of the letter off like that? Read it again.
Come. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved.
Why is he not praying for the Romans? Y'all see what I'm talking about? My prayer and desire is for Israel that they might be saved. Why would he write that to the Romans? Anybody know?
Salakia.
Go ahead.
Because they are Israelites in Rome living as Romans.
Right. It's no different than you an Israelite living in Florida, and I write a letter to the Floridians, and I say my prayer is that that the Israelites will be saved. Y'all know I'm talking about y'all, right?
Right.
But let's say I was writing this letter to non-Israelites. Would I not? Because it's going to everybody. Why would I say my prayer to the Romans is that they might be saved? He could have said that, right?
Right.
Ain't this a letter to the Romans? Why didn't he say my prayer to the Romans is that they might be saved? And in Romans chapter 10, he's saying my prayer is to Israel that they might be saved. Then you go to First Corinthians, right? Chapter 10 and 1. It says, moreover, brethren, we know who the brethren is because of Romans chapter 9. I would not that you should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea and were baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. This should tell you who it's talking about. You skip over to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, right? Verse 2. You know that you were Gentiles. That means you used to be carried away into these dumb idols as you were led. You were led into captivity and you started serving idols. And then if you go to 1 Kings chapter 9 and 6, 9 and 7, it tells you that the Most High will cut you off and you won't be his people for serving idols. That's how you become a Gentile as a Jew. Y'all see that? That's it. So if you go back to the first scripture we pulled in John chapter 7, where Christ said, I'm about to go, and where I'm going, you can't come. And they like, well, where he going to go? Is he going to go to the Gentiles, the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? That's what they was talking about. Y'all with me? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 28. Let's see what's there. Isaiah chapter 28. verse 11. Let me see. Oh, this is just what I was just saying. Go ahead to verse 9. Y'all might not know this, but if y'all been around for a while, y'all know that Hebrews 5 and 12, where I go to start off. This is what I used to read before.
Wakanda.
Trooper Amon, are you there?
Colonel Wakan, sir.
Can you read?
Colonel Wakan.
All right. Give me Isaiah 28:9.
Colonel Wakan, sir. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast.
So it's whom shall he make, right? Whom shall he teach knowledge? This person. Whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Meaning, like you gotta be a little. You can't be no person coming in and don't understand nothing and learn from these particular people, right? This was a curse that was put on Israel. Now you got these so-called teachers that's supposed to be teaching you, but they prophesy lies, they prophesy deceit because we asked for that. They said, tell us not truths, prophesy lies, prophesy deceit. Now that you got them, the Lord asking about these people. They getting drunk, they getting drunk and vomiting all over the doggone holy place. Who shall this person teach anything? Them that are weaned and from the milk and drawn from the breast will understand this because the Lord will have them to understand it, even though the people ain't right. We done went a long time having these people supposedly teaching us the Bible, but teaching their own doctrine, right? So the Most High made it where this is how we have to learn now. Give me verse 10.
Colonel Wakan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, it's like everyone. As Trooper Aman was reading this verse, the thought went right through my head how disgusting Christians is. With wasn't there some heathen, some African pastor that made the members drink from her breast, drink milk from her breast, and like a while ago.
He did what? Made the members do what?
Slug out one. There was some Christian preacher woman that made members drink, like the male members drink from her breast, and she called it the holy milk.
Oh yeah, I mean, how far you want to go down that rabbit hole, man? They done all manner of evil. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, listen, they had all these videos where they lined them up and they was naked, and they said, men said you had to do all manner of evil in order to be saved, and they used this and all this. That's what it's talking about here. The priest, the so-called priest, was off. They was off. And he like, who these people gonna teach something? And if it hadn't been for the Most High, right, we would have never learned the truth. But now he had the records of our ancestors. We had the records of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Jeremiah, Malachi, so we can revert back to them now. And even when the preachers is off, even when the priests don't know what they're talking about, even when they're not serving the Most High, we can go in here and get this information. That's what it's talking about in verse 10. Read verse 10, Amon.
Come on. Verse 10. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little.
So now you got to follow what, like I said, Captain Zaryak says, there's a river that flows through the Bible. So now you got to understand all of these different texts in order for me to break down just what it's talking about when it's talking about Gentiles, when it's talking about nations, when it's talking about strangers, when it's talking about this. It should be so easy because you got a teacher that's teaching you, right? But because of you having to unlearn what you already thought you knew about God and the Bible and his people and who they are and all of this, now you got to learn it like this. Precept got to be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line. You got to go almost here a little and there a little, right? Not only that, give me verse 11.
Come. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to his people.
So now if you go into the Apocrypha, it'll tell you that we did our best to try to translate these words into English. But you got some Hebrew words that there is no English equivalent word to it. So as we read it in English, just know that some of this stuff don't have the same force it has in the scriptures. Anybody ever seen that before? Has anybody not seen that before? Where it say that in the Bible? Yeah, go ahead. Anybody not seen that before?
Canadian answer. I've not seen that before.
Do you have an Apocrypha?
Canadian answer.
Go to let me see. Hold on. Let me find it. I thought it was at the beginning of Ecclesiasticus. It's a prologue at the beginning of the Apocrypha. Hold on. See if I can find it real quick. Yeah, it's Ecclesiasticus 1:1. Can somebody grab that for me real quick? I thought it was. Anybody besides my shot got a Zondervan? I mean, everybody should have a Apocrypha.
Wakan.
Right?
Ecclesiasticus chapter 1 and verse 1.
I don't think it's 1:1. It's a prologue.
Okay. Oh, I see it. Salaki, I see it.
It says the prologue of the wisdom of Jesus, the son of Sirach. You see that?
Wakan, you want me to read?
It starts with whereas.
Wakan.
Yeah, read that for me.
Okay. It says, I see where it says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue, have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language.
Y'all see that?
Can I
Y'all see
run
that?
from so?
Okay.
They breaking it
Can
down
I
and saying,
make
"Hey, look, we did our best. We did our best to translate this, but things uttered in another tongue don't have the same force as it would in Hebrew. So now we gotta learn this information not in the Most High's language that His people spoke, but in a different language. Now go back to Isaiah 28:11. Amon, trooper Amon, and read that again.
Count on one count, sir. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to his people.
Y'all see that? So now not only the priest is off, the teachers is off, they getting drunk, they dealing with all manner of evil. He's saying now you got to learn this thing. You can't just learn it from having a priest that's going to convey the Most High's words to you. Now you got to jump precept to precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Now you got to learn it in another language. The entire Testament written in Greek, right? We speak in Greek, we speak in English, we speak in Spanish, we speak in the languages of our oppressors and not our native tongue. The Most High got to speak to us now. All this, guess what we are? Anybody know what we are? Nobody?
Salakia,
I know you know. Anybody else? Give me 1 Corinthians 12:2 again. What's your answer, Yeshaya?
No, Salakia, I was gonna say, can you repeat the question because you went out for a second.
You was going what?
Salakia, can you repeat the question because you went out for a second on my side?
Oh, okay. The question was, I said the question was, now we're speaking in another tongue. Now we have to receive the Most High's words, not from the Levitical priest, right? We have to go through the Bible here a little and there a little. We have to understand it precept upon precept now. This is what the Most High said, what happened to us in Isaiah. Anybody know what we are? We're speaking the language of our oppressors, not the language of the Most High. We don't live in the land. We don't have a Levitical priesthood. What are we is what I asked.
Oh, Salakia.
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
Gentiles.
There you go. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. I'll read it. Verse 2. You know that you were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols as you were led. Oh, you trying to act like you ain't served, the whatever fake God they serve on Valentine's Day. You served that God before.
Right.
Right. Right.
You didn't even know it had nothing to do with a God. You just thought that you was doing it for your old lady. Because they don't tell you what these things mean. You have to learn, and then you can come back to the truth and be what the Most High called you to be. A son of God, which is what Yashar or Prince of the Power means. Yashar Allah, son of God. And if you go to John chapter 1, it said the word of God came to his own, and his own received him not. But to them that did receive, it gave them the power to become the sons of God. This thing is spiritual. Let's keep going. Let's go to Luke chapter 2, verse 36. See what's up there. Luke chapter 2, verse 36. Hey, shalom to everybody on Bigo. If y'all got any questions, y'all can ask those questions in the chat. I'm live on YouTube or ISUPK Florida right now. I'm just sharing the experience. You can get in the real class online on the YouTube. Just share the experience for people on Bigo. All right.
That was the book of Luke. Can you repeat the chapter and verse, Baba Kashaw?
Luke chapter 2, verse 36. Let me get somebody up. Well, go ahead, Shabar. It's on you. I done went down. It's back on you again.
The book of Luke, chapter 2 and verse 36. And there was one, Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Aser. She was of a great age and had lived with an husband 7 years from her virginity. And she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fasting and prayers night and day. And she coming in that instant.
So this is what I want you. Nah, stop right there. This is the reason why we are dealing with this. You will have some Israelites, right, that will say that when it talks about Gentiles, it's talking about the northern kingdom, right? A better way to break that down is to say that it was like what I read earlier in the diaspora. It was Jews living outside of the land. So if you was outside the land, guess what else you wasn't doing? You wasn't getting circumcised on the 8th day. Guess what else you might have been doing? You might have been eating food that was deemed unclean and abominable by the Most High. Guess what else you wasn't doing? You wasn't keeping the Sabbath. You wasn't keeping the Passover. You might not have had the culture of an Israelite because you were living outside of the land and therefore keeping the culture of whoever it was you was living around, right? Here's the reason why. That's a better way to explain who the Gentiles was, because if you say the northern kingdom, now there's a lot of Israelite camps that are not one west. That's not one west to just say that it was the northern kingdom, because when you go right here to Luke chapter 2, you'll see a sister from the tribe of Asher living in the land. She wasn't a Gentile. She's living in the land, and she's in the temple, and she's fasting and praying. Y'all see that? This is Luke chapter 2 and verse 36. So you can't make no blanket statement that it was only the northern kingdom that was getting called Gentile, because it was people that were in the northern kingdom in the land. Let me read that again, verse 36. And there was one, Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel, I don't know how to say it, Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of great age and had lived with an husband 7 years from her virginity. And she was a widow of about 84 years, 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served the Most High, or the power, with fasting and prayers night and day. So you can't say that all the Gentiles was northern kingdoms, because some of the northern kingdom people was inside the land, and some of the southern kingdom people was outside the land. All right. I just wanted to clear that up. Anybody had something?
Cool.
Somebody said Salakia? Go ahead.
Lawson.
Okay, y'all understand why I said that, right?
Come on.
Yeah, if you don't run across these people, you'll never understand the difference between them and us. And when you run across them, you're gonna be like, nah, that ain't what that is. But there are a lot of Israelites that believe that when it's saying Gentiles, it's only talking about the northern kingdom, because predominantly the northern kingdom after the Assyrian captivity, they came over here. So when you start talking about the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas, the Tainos, all of these different tribes, that will become what they call the Hispanics and natives was predominantly the northern tribe, but there were some still living in the land, and this is during the time of Christ. All right. I just wanted to make sure I hit that. Yeah, go ahead.
If I could. I just saw the other day a class of I think it was ICPK young, not Yonkers, but up there somewhere in New York. That they I think it was the captain uh, the big other one
Mawala.
last
Captain
no
Isaiah.
it's
Captain Cesario.
last the brother with the you got a
Who
very
you talking
deep
about?
voice
From New
um,
York?
not New York but it's up there in New York Delaware Salakia.
Azania.
Not
Oh, you talking about Tazaiwan, Captain
the Zaria
Tazaiwan.
one kind of one cancer. You pulled out of the Jewish encyclopedia when you look up Ashereth, that it says that Ashereth is the land that Christopher Columbus was looking for in the Americas to find the 10 tribes
You didn't know
in the
that?
Jewish encyclopedia. Come on, counsel.
You didn't know that?
Last year,
Every year,
I just told
every year on Columbus Day, I'll play that little clip from the movie. In the movie 1492, it says it. It says, why do you think you can get there by going west? And he'll name a couple of people, and then he'll say Esdras. And he'll say, Esdras, are you crazy? Esdras is a Jew. And I also bring out where these people were sent by Ferdinand and Queen Isabella to come over and to find the lost Jews and to change and convert them into Christians. That is an untold part of Christopher Columbus and his voyage. One part that everybody knows is the money. Everything he found, he takes back. He takes back to the Queen, right? And he gets to keep a certain percentage based on the contract he had with the Queen. The other part of it is he's doing it under the Holy Roman Empire to come and convert the Jews that he found into Christians. I always bring that out. If you want to get more on that, you can go to the ISUPK Florida, look up Christopher Columbus is a thief or something like that. I got it probably about 5 years worth. I do it almost every year, and it shows, that there was another part of the Columbus voyage that wasn't just about the money, that wasn't just about finding the lost land. It was also about converting the lost tribes of Israel into Christians. So yeah, you're right on that. Captain Tazaiwan out of Delaware, him and his twin brother, we was real close. Me and Matazapa, he came up in the Florida school before he went back to Delaware, and them brothers be reading. I don't read that much unless it's like the Bible or something I gotta read, or if I gotta, maybe a debate or something like that, I might read it. But them brothers just like reading. They always got some information. They be coming out of all of them Jewish books and all of that stuff. They be up on it. So yeah, that's good. That's good information. Let's go to Romans again, chapter 11, verse 26. Hit this one real quick, and then we're gonna keep it moving. There's so many other precepts that we could go to. I'm only halfway done, but y'all done seen these before, so I want to make sure y'all get it. The Gentiles in the New Testament. Somebody got it? Come on, y'all.
Come on, sir. This is the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
Now, if you don't know no better, you'll think this man just talking, right? But if you go back to the Old Testament, you'll see this. Somebody give me 2 Kings 18. In the meantime, y'all can tell me, why is he writing a letter to the Romans? And in Romans 11 and 26, he's summing up what he's saying in Romans 11 about the grafting in of the wild olive tree back to the original tree. Why is he saying and summing it up by saying, and so, like, all right, so now all that being said, this is what happens at the end. And so all Israel will be saved. So who was he talking about the first time? The whole time he summed it up. He started it off. My prayer is for Israel. That's in Romans 10. And then he said, has God forgotten his people? No, he gives his registry in Romans chapter 11. He starts talking about this olive tree. And then he gets down to 26 and says, so all of Israel shall be saved. Then he go to quoting the Old Testament. Somebody got the 2 Kings 18 and 17? Let's go.
2 Kings chapter 18 and verse 17. And the king of Assyria sent Tartan and Rabsaris and the Rabshakeh from Lachish to King Hezekiah with the great host against Jerusalem. And they went up and came to Jerusalem. And when they were come up, they came and stood by the conduit of the upper pool, which is in the highway of the fuller's field. And when they had called to the king,
hold on 1 second. Where you at?
2 Kings chapter 18, and I'm at verse 18 right now.
Yeah, let me check that real quick. Hold on, let me make sure that's the right one.
You're looking for chapter 17, I don't.
2 Kings 17 might be 17 and 18. Maybe I got it backwards. Let me see.
Salaki, is it when he
Yep.
says the Lord was very angry with Israel?
Yeah, it's 17 and 18. Salakia. Give me verse 16 real quick. Let's go there.
2 Kings chapter 17 verse 16. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshiped all the hosts of heaven, and served Baal.
Keep going.
And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. Also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they made. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight.
Remember when we read about the dispersion and it said the Assyrian one was one, right? He said he cast them out of his sight. The Most High. Where were you at verse 20? So you see what was going on here. These brothers were dealing in wickedness, and the Most High took them up out of the land, right? and he gave them over to the other nations. They caused their sons and daughters to pass through the fire, meaning they was giving up their children in order to serve this deity. They did evil in the sight of the Most High and provoked him to anger. Therefore, the Lord was very angry with them and removed them out of his sight. You ain't my people no more. I'm not your God. Get up out of here. Get up out of here. Matter of fact, let me get that. Well, we got that last week. You can throw that in your notes too. Hosea chapter 1 and 10, you are not my people. In the same place it said, you are not my people, it shall be said that you are the sons of the living God. Paul quotes that in Romans chapter 9, verse 25. If y'all just want to throw that in your notes, right? All right. Let's get this one real quick. James 1 and 1. See who James was writing to. We see who Paul was writing to, right? We see that through 1 Corinthians chapter 12 or verse 1, or chapter 10, verse 1, and in Romans chapter 10, verse 1, and in Romans chapter 11, verse 1. Brethren. Who is his brethren? My kinsmen, according to the flesh. Who is James writing to? Is Shabar the only one in class? Nobody else is available to read?
Like you said, James 1 and 1.
Yeah, go ahead, Kayal.
James 1. James 1 and 1. Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad.
We're in class, Kayal. How would you read that?
Like you, sir. Read that.
We're in class. How would you read that?
James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Greetings.
All right, let me. You can read it like that. You can read it like that. This is how I would read it in class. James, a servant of the power, right, and of our Adawan Yahushua Mashiach, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Greeting. So who is he writing this letter to? James, a servant of God and of our Lord Jesus, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. I don't know if y'all might have missed it. The diaspora was the people living outside of Palestine, but keeping their Jewish faith among the Gentiles. That's where we started at, John 7 and 35. Y'all can go and check that out on your own time. Y'all with me?
Count on, sir.
Let me see if I can get a couple in here real quick. Masha, get me Acts chapter 21, verse 18. Aman, get me Acts chapter 13, verse 26. Yeshaya, get me Ephesians 2 and 11. And I want you to go first. Let me see what that say. Shabar, get me Amos 9 and 9. I want to hit these real quick. Try to get them out the way before General Yohana starts talking. You got it, Shabar?
Amos chapter 9 and verse 9.
Oh no! All right, who I said before you? Yeshaya.
Ephesians
11. Let's go.
Come. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 11. Wherefore, remember that ye being in past times Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision.
Y'all see that, right? And this time he's talking to we read something similar in Corinthians. This time he's talking to the people in Ephesus. Hey, remember, y'all wasn't even circumcised and was called uncircumcised like y'all was heathens by those people who were circumcised. Y'all see that, right? There's a difference. Remember, under the Greeks, you was not allowed to circumcise your children. You was not allowed to keep feast days. You was not allowed to do any of that. You were a Gentile. Who got the Acts 21?
Canadian Council. This is the book of Acts, chapter 21, verse 18. And the day following, Paul went and with us unto James, and all the elders were present.
I said this in the debate. Paul went in, and Paul was checking in. He went in with James and the elders. Remember who James was going for? We just read it in James 1:1 to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. So James and the elders are here with Paul. He checking in. Keep going.
Verse 19. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things God had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry.
So this is what he's dealing with them. He breaking down what things that God had done with his ministry among the Gentiles or among the nations. Keep going. Or among the dispersed or among the diaspora. Keep going.
Verse 20. And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord and said unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there were which believed, and they were all zealous of the Lord.
Y'all see that, right? They call them Gentiles in one. Like, remember, this is the apostle sent to the Gentiles. This is the Acts. It's talking about what Paul was doing, and he going to check in, and they like, hey, what you been out there doing with them Gentiles? They call them Gentiles. And then when he gave his report, they praised the Lord at how many Jews believed and were zealous of the law. Y'all see that, right?
Right.
We call Gentiles in one, and then you get to the very next verse. It's calling them Jews that because they converted and now they zealous of the law. All right. If you keep reading, it'll say that, oh, we heard you out there teaching the Gentiles. I mean, the Jews that's among the Gentiles to not to get circumcised or not to keep Moses' law, which lets you know he was teaching Jews that was among the Gentiles. Who got the Amos? Which one? Oh, Acts 13 and 26. Who got that? Nobody?
Come on, I got a clock on.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 26.
Hold on. Did I ask somebody else to read that? No? All right, go ahead, Yeshaya.
Come on, counsel. This is the book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 26. Men and brethren, children of the stock of Abram, and whosoever among you feareth God, to you is the word of this salvation sent.
Y'all see that, right? Y'all see that? Everybody who's on this, you to y'all is who salvation is sent. Read it again.
Men and brethren.
The Acts is crazy. The Acts is crazy when it comes to proving that these people were these Gentiles, air quotations, were Jews. Somebody give me Acts 5 and 30 real quick.
Continue reading.
I'm gonna bring up mine. You keep going where you at, Yeshaya.
Come. The book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 26.
Amon, give me Acts 5 and 30. All right. Go ahead.
Count
Read
on
it
the one
again.
count, sir.
Men and brethren, children of the stock of Abram, and
Children of the
whosoever
stock of Abraham. It don't say Abraham.
come. Slaki, that's how we
Children of the
said.
stock of Abraham. Go ahead.
And whosoever among you feareth God, to you is sent the word of salvation. Slaki, to you is word of salvation sent.
Not to everybody. Not to everybody. To you. The people I'm talking to, these Jews, the children of the stock of Abraham, to you. Right? Give me Acts 5 and 30. Amon.
Count on the one count, sir. This is the book of Acts, chapter 5, verse 30. The God of our fathers raised up Christ, whom ye slew. Salakia. The God of our fathers raised up Yahushua, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree.
The God of our fathers. Who is he talking to? Who is the God of our fathers? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom you slew and hang on a tree. Keep going.
Count on one count. Him had God exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance to Israel, to
Yeah, that's what it
Israel,
say. That's what it say.
and forgiveness of sin.
That's in the Bible right there. The God of our fathers raised up Jesus, who you slew and hang on a tree. Right? Him have God sent to give repentance to Israel, not to everybody. This shows you that they constantly talking about it. Constantly talking about it. Who this salvation is given to is the people that was lost. It's the Israelites living amongst the Gentiles. That's what's going on. Let me see real quick. Acts 19 and 30. Or 19 and 10 real quick. Somebody give me that. Somebody got that Amos chapter 9 that I called for? Who is that? Shabar? Go ahead and read that real quick.
Amos chapter 9, verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which said, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us.
Is there more to that?
That was the end of verse 10.
What does 11 say?
In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David, that is the fallen, and close up the breachers thereof.
There it is right there. That's the thing right there. He's raising back up the tabernacle of David, or the house of David. That's what Yahushua came to do, sit on the throne of David. This was all about the prophecies in the Old Testament being fulfilled in the New Testament. It ain't no Old Testament prophecy that's talking about God joining us to the other nations. In Ezekiel 36, he actually says the opposite. I will take you from among the places that I scattered you and put you back in your own land and give you my spirit. Right here is saying, I'm going to sift the house of Israel like wheat from among the nations. If you go to Revelation chapter 5, it says, matter of fact, somebody give me Revelations 5 and 9.
Come.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 5, verse 9. And they sang a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof. For thou hast Slakia, for thou was slain
So this is talking
and
to
hast
Yahweh. This is a vision he see where he got the man sitting on the throne and he got books in his hand that can open that need to be opened for the salvation of the people, and everybody crying because nobody worthy to take the book. All of a sudden he sees the lamb or that was slain. He come take the book and he said, "Thou art worthy to open the book because thou was slain." Keep going.
come and has redeemed us to God by the blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation.
And has redeemed us to our God out of every kindred and tongue and nation. So this is telling y'all when the Most High said in Ezekiel 36 he was going to gather you in all the places he scattered you out of these places. Amos chapter 9 where he said he going to sift you as corn is sifted and he going to separate you from everybody else. The same way he tried to separate you from everybody else in order to give you the land and to bless you. And the same way he separated you from himself in order to curse you and scattered you amongst the people is how he going to gather you. So you go from being a Gentile, a person looked at like the other nations, to actually becoming a son of God. Now you're like that prodigal son that gets the opportunity to come back and get your inheritance. The brother had a question. Is Acts chapter 19 and 10? Would that be a precept? Somebody give it to me real quick before we get out of here.
Acts 19 verse 10. And this continued by the space of 2 years, so that all that which dwelt in Asia heard the word of the Lord Jesus, both Jews and Greeks.
Y'all see that? All that was in there. Now, this is, you wouldn't want to use this one with a Christian because they don't know that Greeks are Grecia or Grecians, right? Then you got to go through explaining why I say Greeks there. If you keep saying that, let me give y'all this definition real quick. It's Grecian in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, and then we'll get up out of here. I think we got it last week. So, Shabar, you good on this now, right?
Kanawakan.
Good.
Water.
Hey, Most High Christ. Grecians. Grecia is Greece, the home of the Hellenes. Anybody know what a Hellen is?
Come.
Go ahead. What's Helen?
Jews that make Greek their language and follow Greek customs.
That's correct. Let me see here. Yeah. So Greeks, the home of the Hellenes. Greeks are generally those of Hellenic race, but the word may be used to indicate non-Jews or foreigners sometimes. So sometimes in the New Testament, when you see Greeks, it's talking about actual foreigners, but most of the time when you see that, it's talking about Hellenized Jews, right? It'll say it right here. Grecians were Greek-speaking Jews, people of the diaspora or the dispersion. Remember that word we use, from areas predominantly Greek. Acts 6 and 1 is what it gives. We already read that. We know what the dispersion is. In the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, if you go to Grecian, if you go to diaspora, it'll break down what these words is. And then you go through the New Testament and you just quote all of the stuff that Paul was teaching. It'll tell you who they was talking to. And then if you have to, you go back to the prophecies and it'll break down who the Most High was going to save. Everybody understand?
Come.
Any questions?
Wow, sir.
Salakia.
All right. Yeah.
Could you just maybe explain to me because this I had a fake Israelite ask me this side. He asked me. He didn't ask me, but he told me that he prays facing to the north because Jerusalem sits in the north. So I just said, I said, so from Carol God, so he from South Africa, it does face to the north, but he said, I said, we pray facing to the east, because of the spirit behind it. But I left it there and I said, yeah, but so he said, is it okay to, to face the north? So I said, yeah, I just face wherever you want to face.
All right, so just know, right? It don't mean that your prayer won't be heard if you're not facing the east. It's just the custom of our ancestors to face Jerusalem for us to try to get the Lord to put us back in the place that He gave us. So if you are a brother in Cape Town, Africa, right? It's still east of you though, right? It ain't directly north.
It's that Caron Council.
I
It's like
mean,
northeast.
it's really just a custom. I don't think it's a law. Y'all would have to show me the law where it says you got to face the east. We do that based on us trying to get the Most High to give us the land back, so on and so forth. But I would imagine if you were west of Jerusalem, you would face the west. But I never thought about it because I ain't never been at a point where Jerusalem was north of me. But yeah, yeah. I mean, if you want to do it like that, that's fine. I would just face the east, just as it's our custom, because we got scattered into Africa, we would face the east. If we got scattered into America's north and south, we would face the east. So I would just tell them to face the east. It's not really a big deal. It's a technicality at that point, and it's not a sin anyway. So that would be my answer to that. Just face the east anyway, man.
Council.
But all right, with that, who we got on the announcements?
I got it on. I think
Right,
y'all said Salakia on.
Go ahead, Kayal.
No, I was just saying. He said he a non-Israelite, so does it matter if he faced the east or whatever? That's what I was saying.
Well, yeah, you got a point there. That it don't make no difference anyway. But I was just more so talking to Yeshaya, because what he probably did was put something in Yeshaya's head, like, "Yo, you know what? It is north." So I just wanted to make sure the brother understood. It's not really like that serious like that. So, but with that, I'll pass the class over to Precinct Officer Yeshaya.
Come. Let's go. UPK security announcements. We're the UPK. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. There is a Slakia. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which a brother or sister will court each other. And after this 6-month period, a brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, we find it in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10, which means 10th in the Hebrew, ma'ashara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. give to the treasury department or the teacher. Priest fund, which is a free will offering for the priest. It is not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations is the Feast of Purim, the 25th day of the 9th month. The 14th day, or the 14th and the 15th day of the 12th month, which falls on the 13th and 14th of March 2025. You'll find it in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20 to 31. If any brother wants to become a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, I would like to say Ahmadiyya. Men of Israel, Ahmadiyya. Ahmadiyya Shabbat. Ahmadiyya. Barak. Yahweh Hashem
Yahweh
Yahushua
Yahweh
Barakatam.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakathum. Salagi.
Yajimata. So men of Israel, we're gonna set up a courtesy salute to the sisters in the class.
What we just say, Yeshaya? What we just say?
What we just said was, in the name of the Most High, and Christ bless you. We're going to set up a courtesy salute to the sisters in the class. Sister Stan. Men of Israel, Ahmadiyya Shabbat. Ahmadiyya Barak.
Yahweh
Yahweh
Hashem Yahweh.
Yajimata. What we said in the Hebrew was, in the name of the Most High, watch over you in the name of Christ. Class dismissed.
All right, Akim. Hope y'all ready for Passover. Hope y'all ready for Purim. Hope y'all ready.
Oh my God.
Come on.
God.